I never imagined I'd vanish from my own life. But that night, 5 years ago, when my wife's hand cracked across my face at her birthday dinner table, I didn't just leave the party. I left everything. The sting wasn't just from her slap. It was from a betrayal that simmered underneath, a betrayal I couldn't prove, yet felt so viscerally that it burned through my chest as I packed my things and walked out. Her friends and family sat frozen, their forks halfway to their mouths, pretending not to see the humiliation unraveling me. She didn't flinch when I stood up, didn't call after me. Maybe she was tired of pretending too. I disappeared that night. No notes, no explanations. I left the house, the city, the country. People like me, they vanish in plain sight. I built walls, moved continents, built an empire. Funny how pain sharpens focus. 5 years passed. When the invitation came, I thought it was a prank. An exclusive gathering of billionaire elites in my hometown? I'd never returned, not once. Yet, there it was, an embossed envelope with my name, as if the city was reaching back to pull me in. The plane touched down on a late summer afternoon. The airport smelled like old memories, ones I wasn't ready for. As I passed through arrivals, an old friend from college, Daniel, intercepted me. His face was pale, eyes jittering, as if he'd seen a ghost. "You don't know?" he asked, breathless. "About Claire?" Her name struck like a forgotten chord. Daniel shoved his phone at me, and there she was. Claire, beautiful, as if the years had carved her from porcelain. But it wasn't her appearance that hit me. It was the man standing next to her in the photo. His hand was tangled possessively around her waist. That man, James Hartford, had been my best friend, my business partner, and the only person who knew about my suspicions back then. "They're married now," Daniel said grimly. 3 years. The ground tilted beneath me. My mind raced back to that night. The tension, her sudden outburst, her unshakable coldness. I had suspected an affair, but never confronted her. Hartford had consoled me when I left, said she was under pressure, that she still loved me. I'd trusted him. I wasn't sure if I was angry, or if the emptiness inside me was simply being refilled with old poisons. But the betrayal had marinated for 5 years. Now it was bitterly ripe. The billionaire gathering was set in a glass fortress atop the city skyline. The who's who of power were there. Money hung in the air like expensive cologne. I barely listened to speeches or clinked champagne glasses. I was watching doorways, waiting. And then she arrived. Claire walked in, draped in an emerald silk dress, the same shade she used to wear when she wanted my attention. On her arm was James Hartford, impeccably smug. They moved like a power couple, but only I could see the subtle stiffness in Claire's smile. When her eyes met mine, the facade cracked, just for a heartbeat, but it was enough. Hartford approached me first, arms wide, as if our history was a joke to be shared. "Look who crawled out of exile," he beamed. "You're a hard man to find, old friend." Old friend. The words tasted like ash. Claire lingered behind, quiet, her eyes scanning me as if she were searching for someone she used to know. I wondered if she found him. We exchanged pleasantries, but there was an undercurrent of electricity. I knew things now, about power, control, deceit, things they had probably never expected me to learn. Later that night, Claire found me alone on the terrace. City lights sparkled below us, but the cold air between us was more vivid than the view. "I didn't expect you to come," she said, voice fragile. I looked at her, really looked. The lines near her eyes were not from laughter. "I wasn't planning to," I replied. There was a long silence. The noise of the party was distant, like it belonged to another world. "You knew about James and me, didn't you?" she asked, not as a question, but as an inevitable truth. I suspected, but I trusted him. "And you?" My voice didn't waver. Claire's shoulders sagged. "I didn't mean for it to happen. But we were broken, you and I. You were drowning in work. I was drowning in loneliness." I laughed, sharp and bitter. "So you sought comfort in my best friend?" Her eyes glistened. "It wasn't supposed to go that far. But the night you left, you never gave me a chance to explain." What was left to explain after you humiliated me in front of everyone? The memory was a fresh wound again. She shook her head. I slapped you because you confronted me about James on my birthday. You knew, and I panicked. I was ashamed, and I took it out on you. I regretted that every day. It would have been easier if she'd been cruel. But she wasn't. She was human, flawed, crumbling under the weight of her own mistakes. Yet, the scars she left on me had shaped who I became. I thought disappearing would give me peace, I said. But all it did was make me build walls so high no one could reach me. And now, she asked, her voice a whisper, now I see you married him. Her gaze dropped. Married? Yes. Happy? That's more complicated. I leaned in slightly. You chose him. I chose what felt like survival. After you vanished, James was there. He filled the silence. But the truth is, he never loved me. He loved winning. The confession hit me harder than I expected. It wasn't just betrayal. It was the aftermath, the loneliness that devoured us both in different ways. I built an empire out of spite. I confessed. I thought I was running from you. Turns out, I was running from the man I was when I loved you. Her eyes softened, but I wasn't sure if it was pity or remnants of love. The night wound down, but the conversation stayed with me. We both knew there was no going back. Time had molded us into strangers who once shared a life. Before leaving, she placed a hand on my arm. For what it's worth, I am proud of you, and I'm sorry. I nodded, unsure if forgiveness was possible, but at least the words had been said. As I left the event, I realized closure isn't always a clean cut. Sometimes it's an understanding, a shared ache that lingers but no longer dictates your steps. Claire and James had betrayed me, but in losing them, I had found a version of myself I never would have become otherwise, and that was enough.